Hi everyone. So I'm Paul Mazlin, I manage the capital procurement team. I just wanted to remind you all to send in your questions via the web app because we've got some Q&A coming up, so we'd like to have some interesting questions to talk about with you guys. So in terms of my role, I actually belong to the financial services division, but we're an embedded team in delivery management. That's by design, so we can provide that challenge to the PM and also so I can link across the other initiatives going on in central procurement as well. So I lead a team of about 10 procurement professionals, and we provide full contract management and procurement services to delivery management. So it's basically our job to procure all of the works Ashley just talked about, as in addition to lots of other renewal projects. That makes me feel quite tired just thinking about that next couple of years, but it's our job to feed that machine and keep that running. The other thing we do is, the reason why we have that embedded team is also to free up our project managers so they can spend a lot more time out in the field working on their projects and delivering. So I've actually got 3 things to talk to you about today. First one is about some changes that are happening in Sydney Water procurement. The other 2, I've got 2 opportunities to announce today that are actually quite significant. This is on top of what Ashley has talked about before. So first I'll talk about what's happening in Sydney Water procurement a little bit. So it's been quite a journey. I won't go on too long about procurement. I know procurement can be not very exciting for some of you, but this is actually where the supply chain meets the business. So about 4 years ago, we appointed a new head of procurement, which is Shane Lamont. So over that time, he systematically tried to bring procurement into the 21st century in Sydney Water. So a lot of people have been brought on from private sector, such as myself. So one thing you'll find is that we're a lot more commercial, a lot more open to new and innovative ideas, and probably a lot less government, if you like. That's a bit of a theme going forward. But one of the biggest things that's happened recently is that procurement's now being given end-to-end supply chain responsibility. So that's part of the operating model changes that you saw Paul talk about before. So the thing about that is that Sydney Water's typically been a very siloed organisation. It's been very difficult to get collaboration going across the whole space. So this now gives us a ticket to start looking at coordinating things across the supply chain, from right down to inventory management, buying teams, purchase to pay, catalogues, all that good stuff that we need to be doing as a 21st century procurement organisation. So one of the interesting things about this space to do with that is to do with supplier relationship management, of course I'll refer to as the SRMs. That's an idea we all talk about. You've heard everyone talk today about a collaborative spirit and collaborating with the supply chain and industry, and that's certainly the theme of it. But now that we have this new structure, we have now the chance to make that into a centre of excellence and actually have a strategy for that. So I'm currently working on a strategy, or a framework, if you like, to roll out SRM across the business. So this is all about that collaborative spirit. Some of the key things in there would be that more mature supply chain interaction, a more partnering style approach, open book contracts, shared investments, also supplier-led innovation. So we're doing a lot more ECI than we used to, so early contractor involvement. Almost every project we've done recently has an ECI component. So that's all about bringing the contractor forward into part of the design process to increase that constructability. So that's actually been a highly successful way to do things. That's becoming the norm now with a lot of our projects, I have to say. The other thing we're looking at doing is integrated planning cycle. So that's another procurement buzzword. What it means basically is bringing in our supply chain even further up front, even further than ECI, actually into the planning phase. So, well, at the moment what we do is we have our projects and we tend to give them out one by one. This is to do with getting a large package of work, maybe you might say retic, and giving that to a contractor and say, right, that's yours for a whole year, have fun. So it enables that supply chain to really optimise their delivery, to optimise their schedule. We're looking to move further up the maturity supply chain with that, if you like. So those are some of the ideas that are coming out at the moment. Another thing we're quite keen on, this is not necessarily a procurement topic, but is BIM, so building information modelling. So that's a whole new way of designing and building an asset. A lot of you will be familiar with that, but if you're not, basically it's rather than make a whole lot of 2D drawings on paper, what we do is we build a quite elaborate 3D model of the construction as it goes along. And that way the whole thing is, you can easily look at clash detection, you can have objects in there with specs attached, and it's very easy to then manage the asset going forward for operations as well. So Ashley talked before about the renewals, the dewatering program. So on that program, BIM is actually going to be mandated. So wouldn't be surprised if BIM is actually the way we go forward for most of it as well. So also with Lower South Creek, we're looking at doing BIM on that as well. So that's certainly a theme that will be going forward. So the next two things I want to talk to you about is these two opportunities. So the first one, change the slide here. So this is about our planning and design and specialist services panel. So at the moment we have two joint ventures delivering those services across Sydney Water. So this is our planning and engineering design works basically. So we have Ensure, which is GHD and SKM, and AAJV, which is Oricon and AECOM. So those contracts are expiring towards the end of the year. So what we're looking at doing is basically retendering the space. Just to give you a sense of the scale of it, it's about 50 million a year in spend we have there, and we're looking at putting in a 9-year contract. So if you do the maths, it's a pretty juicy contract if you think about it. So in terms of what we're thinking about how we want to structure that, we're looking actually for a single design partner. So we're not looking for a consortium or a JV as such. We do understand that often we won't find one provider who can do planning and design, so we might have one separate partner each for that. And then the concept is that that partner will self-perform the bulk of those works, and what they can't do will then form a specialist panel beneath that. So that specialist panel will be directly engaged by Sydney Water. So the idea is, again, for this to service the whole of the business. So the reason why that panel has been structured like that is so that those contractors will be accessible to everyone else in Sydney Water as well, rather than just subbed into one particular company. So we're trying to open this up to help all of Sydney Water get access to these services. So what we're looking to do in terms of timing is go to market probably late in this year and then go live in late 2017. So you'll see these details on eTender and they'll come out fairly soon, so watch out for that one. So the second one I want to talk to you about, and this is actually an even bigger opportunity, and this is basically the whole shooting match. So infrastructure delivery at Sydney Water. So our current structure in Sydney Water for capital delivery, we have an in-house team of about 200 people or so, if you just call delivery management. So they deliver the bulk of capital works, and that's formed with about a third Sydney Water people, and the rest are made up of a joint venture with John Holland Lend-Lease staff as project managers. So at the moment, that's how we deliver work, as a project management team, and they're supported by the panel, which is about 14 or so delivery contractors. So all of those contracts expire in about 2 years, so in about June 2018. So this provides us with an opportunity to actually rethink how we work in this space, how we deliver capital at Sydney Water. So at this stage, we don't have any preconceived idea as to how we want to do that. But again, we're looking to you guys to come and talk to us about how we think we should do that. So again, it will be along those lines of the collaboration in the SRM space. So the delivery partner models, very more mature kind of work. So I'd like to get involved with you guys a bit more and see how we can deliver that. So how we're going to run that is run a market sounding. So we're going to kick that off shortly, probably not too far away. So that's your opportunity to come and engage with us and tell us how you think we should work going forward. So that's quite a big opportunity. So just obviously you've seen these numbers from Ashley before. It's roughly $500 million a year we spend in this space. And there's also about a 60 million or so in the developer space. So really all those pieces, if we can fit them all together in a collaborative fashion and just crack on with it, basically, that's what we're interested in hearing about. So again, all these details will appear on eTender in due course, so keep your eye out for that one. So I guess as an example of some of the new thinking at Sydney Water, we've heard about the delivery partner model we've been talking about at Lower South Creek. So I'd like now to introduce Jeff Shepherd, the Project Director.